All right, guys, we are back like we never left. Episode 21 of the Small Cap Review. And this was an awesome trading day. Whether you're long, whether you're short, there were names for everyone, and hopefully everyone was eating today. Lucy, an absolutely crazy day, ended up being the highest percent gain of my trading career. I think I'll do a separate video on that, but it will be included here at the end of this video. So if you're looking for Lucy Talk, check out the end of this video, or I will have a separate one on my page today or tomorrow as well. But to start, like we usually do, we're just going to look at the leading gappers and kind of go down this list. RSLS being the first one, 105% gap on the daily. Let's take a look at that daily chart. And there's going to be a couple things that we want to take note of. Looking left, what do we see on this name when it gaps up? Small spike, gave it all back. A little bigger spike, gave it all back. Decent spike, but gave it all back. Okay, so we have a gap up here. What do we think is going to happen? I think you can say it's probably going to give it all back. And that's what we get today. Trying out something new. These white lines are daily pivots, as you guys are accustomed to, with the green being this daily gap here. And then this red is just the VWAP, closing VWAP for this day on the 13th of December, the highest volume day on the chart. So just kind of a new, it's not my idea, but a new idea that I am testing out on my charts. So you see that level here, and really all the levels that were drawn really well respected in after hours yesterday. And after hours closed up here at 55 cents. And then pre-market was never able to get over the 50-cent level. It tries once, twice, 3 times, and then can't even make it there on the open, where it totally fades off. So this was definitely more of a short watch name for me, giving the history on the daily chart. How would I have attacked it on the short side? Same way I typically do. Would have drawn these fibs out, looking for areas of confluence. I would say 50 cents. Well, that is a key level, whole 50-cent level. Then you also have this daily pivot respected in the pre-market, and that lines up with the 78 fib. So ideal entry would have been up here at right under 51 cents. Don't get that move entirely. You get a move up to, what was the high of this candle? 50 cents on the dot. So really pretty much a picture perfect entry there, and immediately pays you. So we got a way deeper fade than the usual goal of the 5-minute 200, but that's why you don't take it all off there. And you let some run, and you get a really nice move from 50 cents down. Right now we're looking at 27%. So I gave up half of its value with absolutely no stress in the name at all. So great name on the short side to start it out. You know, as usual, if the name is gapping up over 100%, those do not make the best longs. The best longs are in the lower percent gapping names and the other multi-day setups. So with that, BNAI, this is a name that I did trade. You know, as I'm talking about the higher percentage ones not being the best, but this one was less with a 65% gap. Let's start with the daily chart. This was easy to draw out with a fresh daily chart. Really had 3 areas of interest on this chart that I was looking at. So this hesitation on this move down, you know, you can call it a quick consolidation. I have that drawn out. And then the top and the bottom of this consolidation here, which lines up with the top of this one, all made for pretty easy charting and easy lines on this thing. So when we were gapping up above this daily zone, I was looking for a pullback, maybe something towards $2 or a little bit below, for a nice move up to the upper zone. And it did not play out exactly like that, but I was able to avoid getting stopped out here, and I'll show you why. On this opening candle, the fact that it had, you know, strong volume, came up, tested this prior level of interest in the pre-market, rejected it firmly. Because of that, I am not trying to get in on this next candle. I'm not trying to rush to get an entry on the name. I'm wanting to be patient, and by the time a couple candles pass, you do see that it is dipping below this daily zone, which is more cause for concern for me, making me not want to enter the trade. So kept it on radar and did see that I did see something in the tape that was interesting. It just felt like someone kept soaking it. Yeah, the price was getting pushed lower, but it kept making these lower wicks and getting absorbed, lower wicks and getting absorbed. And then the tides really turned here, and you could tell on the tape that it was a little bit different. Um, Sorry, phone went off. And then I was looking for, again, kind of the move I was looking for it open, a move above this daily zone and a retest of it for a move up to this upper zone. So I was able to get in here after I saw this, kind of tweezer top look. Again, not super eager, but again, it gets absorbed. So as it came up here and broke through two, I entered the trade looking again for a move up into this daily zone and took 3/4 of my profits right here. I was hoping for more, but with how it was kind of stalling up here at the top, a little bit of a fake breakout stuff type of look, and already did give a solid gain, from about $2, 20% move right there in a couple of minutes. So I was happy just to take it off the table. At this time, I was in Lucy as well, which was working really nicely for me. Um, so happy just to take some additional profits and then, shift my focus back to Lucy. So ended up getting stopped out on the rest of my shares. Kind of had my stop at a silly spot. It was, kind of an arbitrary place. I just had it right below this pivot here. But with that being so close to VWAP, probably could have played it differently. But we do get kind of a failed follow through, but the lower zone holds back on top of VWAP. This is definitely the best entry of the day. Of course, using some hindsight, we get the trend line break as a basis on top of VWAP, positively stacked EMAs, and then really get a powerful move up through the zone. So would have been nice to get that move in the morning when I was in the name, but good to see the levels respected regardless, and good to see good strength on the name. And then this one did give. If you miss the huge stuff short opportunity there, break those fibs out, draw them, and we get up to the 61 fib. A nice little stuff candle there for another opportunity to get short, and that could be working nicely for you, giving you about 20% here with potential for more by the end of the day. So two good names to start the day. On the short side, and this one, of course, gave a great long opportunity as well. CCG, really only thing, I don't want to spend too much time. This is actually the second time I'm recording this video, so my throat is a little parched. I had a guy start mowing the lawn halfway through, and honestly, it's easier to re-record than have to do some video editing in the middle to chop out that noise. So anyway, all that to say, the interesting thing to me on this name was the fundamentals on it. They had a ton of cash on hand, like $200 million of cash on hand, which is way more than you see with like typical US small caps that are gapping. That's a ton of money. But they also had an offering open with effect where they could sell, tens of millions of shares. So dilution was certainly on the table. And if you look at this chart, looks like they went ahead and tapped on in and sold a bunch of paper today. So because of the dilution possibility today, I was out on this thing. The only level of interest is here at the pre-market level, and then on the daily chart we're just opening up in no man's land, right in the middle of these ranges. So no reason for me to be interested in that one. GVH, another nice fader of a name. To be honest, I thought this name had a shot on the long side potentially, depending on how it behaved. I would have been looking for these daily pivots here, $2 again to hold. But of course that, excuse me, But unfortunately, that did not happen for the longs, but ended up being a super nice short name. You get a failed follow-through setup in the pre-market. But for me to take this short, this would have had to come up quite a bit at the open. As you see, we'll draw it out. We don't even get to what the 38 fib, so not just too much room to the pre-market highs from the opening drive price for me to want to get interested there. But of course, if you were able to get in on this failed follow through in the pre-market, I'm not a pre-market trader, so this was not for me. But this is kind of a great setup in normal opening trading hours. A little bit higher would have been a little bit better, of course, but failed follow through is failed follow through. I am going to skip SCPX, which was a really nice, setup again on the short side, just coming into key daily lows, consolidation lows on the daily, rejecting and then fading back off. So wasn't a ton of range in the name, having the pre-mark or the previous day high just down here, but clean short setup nonetheless. And then SYTA really was not that interesting. So let's just do what we came here to do and talk Lucy. So like I said, going to have a fuller, more in-depth video on this name. I'm going to try to keep this just a couple minutes talking about this name right here and go more in depth later today or tomorrow on it. So what do we have here? I mean, we have to talk big picture, of course, given the setup on the daily. So Friday, name went absolutely nuts. A sick day. I'm sure a lot of you guys captured some of this move on the long side. And then we set up what was going to look like kind of a standard inside bar type of day here, coming up to, for me, this was the first level of interest from the opening price, and we rejected at open. We're able to make a new high under it, but then we keep kind of getting stuck on it, and then they drop an offering. So huge sell-off on the offering news into new lows in the pre-market today. But the thing to really take note of is 944 million shares traded on Friday, and yesterday it had 86 million, so less than 10%. So kind of the thought was if this hung around for a few days, it could maybe set up a nice liquidity trap, but we didn't even have to wait that long. So you have to think, put your mind where, on the other side of the fence if you're a long, and, of course, the same if you're a short. But if you're, joining this offering move as it comes down, by the time it opens today, you're already underwater. And then with this big gap up, it's on a lot of people's radars. Everyone has that big day on Friday in their minds, and this kind of set up a perfect storm. I mean, because off the bat, like I said, we have the chasers from the offering already underwater. We hold these key levels at open. They're daily pivots, but you see them respected here on day one. You see them respected here on day 2, and now on day 3, you see them get respected. So I entered in here at 54 cents when I saw kind of break through these levels at the pre-market high and then get absorbed again on these bottom wicks here. So I was in at 54 cents. Awesome entry for me. And I had a couple of thoughts, it was kind of easy to let your imagination run wild because for me, I was like, okay, if we're gonna get the offering chasers, underwater, they're gonna get squeezed out, and that's gonna take us to the high of day of yesterday, which could give us a good area to base on. And if we base off of that, we're up into the 80 cents. Now we have the whole dollar magnet. If we get to the whole dollar, day one high of day is there as well. So in my mind, I was like, this could go back over. I mean, even it might be crazy to say when it's 50 cents, but I was like, okay, this could break the previous high day of $1.15 and give us an awesome move. And that's it played out pretty much exactly how I would have wanted. You do, in my mind, I was like, there's probably going to be a little bit. It's not going to be a super smooth road there, and we get all these upper wicks into the previous high a day, but we hold, we get that new high a day, and we get a huge rejection. But we've seen this on a ton of names. I mean, this has been almost a daily occurrence on these penny runners where you get this like, 4-minute move to the downside that's really aggressive, but is absorbed. Excuse me, but is absorbed. So the fact that it came down here, touched the pre-market high, touched these pivots, really nicely, immediately gets absorbed, takes back 50% of the loss in one candle, and then continues to consolidate on positive EMAs on top of VWAP. It's like, okay, if we're going to have a move like this, we're I'm feeling good that we're going to get that move to make new highs, and then the rest of the plan hopefully to play out. And that's what we get. I mean, once you're in here, um, you just have to have a little guts and not be afraid to give something back because it is a move straight up. I did sell some here in this next daily zone, and again, I got that from Friday. Kind of all these highs here and then this bottom consolidation. So wanted to go ahead and secure some from my average. And then I've actually never held a stock 100% on a day trade. I've, swung 100, but I've never day traded 100% or so. Took some at a 54 average, so took some off at 108, and then again up here in the 120s, and then was stopped out the rest right here. But I was fine at that point. I had like 1/16th of my position or something like that. So was a really awesome trade. You get the fake breakout by a couple pennies here, and then the fade off. No telling what this thing's going to do at this point. No crystal ball on my end, but was an awesome, awesome, awesome trader. So I think with all of that said, I really don't, I won't go too much more into detail on Lucy talking fundamentals or more in-depth breakdown of the setup. But if you're looking for that, it will be on my channel. Probably not today at this point since this is the second time I've recorded this, but I will get it up there by the end of the week. So eyes peeled for that if you're interested. But that'll do it for today's video. Hope you guys made off well today. It was a really awesome day in the market. So thank you for tuning in. This channel where we talk about actual trading. We're not gambling. We are not holding, we are trading. So if you're interested in learning how to trade, being a profitable trader, I'm not selling anything. I will never sell you guys anything. Just doing it, putting out the education or the type of content that I wish I had when I was starting out in the market. So if that's interesting to you, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. We do this every day, and I appreciate you tuning in. Drop your questions below, and have a good rest of your day.